listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shemaiah Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shemaiah Reed.
Welcome back to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today. We have another show lined up for y'all today. Today, we're going to talk to a special guest after nearly 30 years in insurance industry. John Salzwedel, he is someone that has a story just like anyone else. He realized that there's something else to be checking out. There's something else he needs to be doing. And that was something that was on the outside. And guess what? Just like anybody else with a great story, that's what he does. That's what he is doing. And that's why he's on this show. He's going to share some of those amazing insights and stories with you, the listener. So when you think about what is important in life, well, tune in, because this is what we do on the show. We bring A-plus guests on the show, and we have an A-plus guest right now. Something to led him to a new calling to help people navigate important life decisions with clarity, purpose, and faith. Today, he's working with individuals who are not just at crossroads. They're ready to step up and get going to what is next with their lives. You go to his website. He has an amazing website. You can check out thecoach.vip. First and foremost, I'm going to land the airplane. Say, John, thanks for clearing your schedule to be on the show today. How you doing, man?
Doing great, Shemaiah. Thank you very much for having me here. Been looking forward to chatting with you.
Awesome, man. Well, we are happy to have you on. When you think about, like I said in the intro, spending nearly 30 years in insurance, successful career, obviously, but inside you felt that, you know, that was no longer maybe aligned, but it was something that you want to explore something else, another opportunity. Kind of break that down for our audience. What was that looking like for you during that time?
Sure. Yeah. You got it exactly right. Things were going along good. Everything appeared correct from the outside. And that actually was part of the problem on it. I started in that business at the very bottom and worked my way up to CEO and owner of a national agency. And it started to get more and more difficult to get out of bed and go to work. It just wasn't fun anymore, or I wasn't motivated with it. And there's nothing against the people I worked with, great people, great company, and the job I was doing was important, but it no longer fired me up, and I didn't know why. And that was very disheartening, because I like to give 100% to everything that I'm doing, and it just became very, very difficult to do that. So I started just reaching out to different educational sources, looking at anything I could find to maybe try to figure out what I was doing wrong. And I ended up finding a bunch of different things where I had, because I was CEO, I had ability to adjust my job and try new things within my job. But it got to the point where even that wasn't being enough. And what I found is, for some people, just a minor tweak is all they need. But for me, I needed a big overhaul, because I needed to step out of that industry. And so here I am. I had my journey there. It took me probably 5 years from the time that I said, there's something not right, to selling my company and going out on my own, going through all the training, becoming a coach, writing a book. And I'm loving what I'm doing, because I'm actually helping people on a one-on-one basis, and it's a common problem that people have. And I had mentioned that part of the problem was the success. It was kind of strange, because I kind of felt guilty. You know, I had a good job, a steady job, with in a good place with good people. What right did I have to think, well, this isn't right? I had it made from the outside. Everything was perfect, but I just wasn't lined up on the inside. And so I had to really explore that and find out what am I doing wrong here, and how can I fix it? And so that's what I share with people now. And that's the different things that I learned through that is a huge part of what I work with people on.
When you think about how you start the process of helping someone that, you know, they have a need for your service, for your insight, your expertise, coaching someone is one thing, but then able to customize the approach based on the person's needs, because everyone's different story, different situation, different crossroads. What are some of the most common situations that bring them to you and say, you know what, it's that time. You know, I can't wait. I can't put this off any longer.
Yeah. Probably the number one item is people have that feeling that something's wrong. They want to make a change, but they have no idea what to do. They don't want to mess up what they have because they like what they have. They have something good, but it's just not quite right anymore. So they don't want to make a mistake where they step in the wrong direction and all of a sudden all the things they worked so hard for are gone just because they made a mistake. So that fear of taking the wrong step is probably the thing that brings people to me more than anything else. And it's easy to get in that spot because we have so many things in this world that are telling us what we're supposed to think, what we're supposed to believe, and some of it well-meaning, but still wrong. And so it's sometimes hard to sort through all of that and figure out, okay, what am I actually supposed to be doing, and how can I move that way without messing up everything else in my life?
Once again, let's on Refocused Radio and watching this online, talking to our special guest, John Salzwedel. Go to his website. Again, that's thecoach.vip. That's a great website, by the way. It's very catchy. When you think about life can get tricky. People get busy, and you know that because we have a calendar. It seems to shift like the wind, and that's typically normal. Like, life is never perfect. Things happen, traffic happens, things get canceled. You have to adjust. Yeah. As a business owner, always trying to adjust with your clients and their needs. What's some of the best practices that you're seeing works not just for you personally, keeping the stress a little bit lower, then it don't need to be too high, but also working with your clients, be flexible and adjustable for them as well, so that their stress could be a little bit calmer as well.
Yeah, that's a great question. One of I'm a huge overcommitter, and fill up my calendar from I had actually 15-minute calendar from 5:30 a.m. till 10 p.m. and I could block everything off for 15 minutes all through the day. And I would do that. I don't do that anymore. It's tiring. It's exhausting. And one of the things that I talk about is the myth of work-life balance. Everybody hears that quite often. You got to balance your work and your life. Well, work is part of life. There's not a work-life balance. You don't have a sleep-life balance. You don't have a food-life balance. You just have life. You have to have your life in balance, and you balance it based on the priorities of what's going on in your life at that time. So for starting a new business, as an example, you're going to spend more of your hours working on that business because it needs you to give it TLC. But there's going to be other times in your life when your kids are in middle school and they're doing lots of activities. You're going to spend more time in your family area, keeping that side of it going good, and maybe a little less in your business. And so you have to keep adjusting what that balance is based on your beliefs and based on your priorities. So I always start with whoever I'm working with. What do you believe in? What's important to you? Who's important to you, and try to develop a clear understanding of the priorities in each of our own lives, and then the definition of success. What is success for you? Because that's different for everybody too.
I like how you talked about earlier about not all is good, even if it's meant, or fingers crossed, hopefully it's okay and it's going to be okay and work out. But I think that's a good thing to highlight, because I was the same boat. Look at the calendar, younger days, and I mean, I'm young still, but younger times and just getting started in media. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I'm busy. You know, I got all this going. Look at me, I'm so important. And then it's like the more you get into it, it's like, wait, hold up, this is noise. Like 90% of this is just ego. Like it's not really impact. It's not mission driven, and you have to slow down. And I'm saying all this to land the airplane again because I like taking flights. You talk about the power of slowing down enough to think clearly. Yeah, I want to stress that because thinking clearly is so important, because without that, even if you have the best schedule in the world, you can't operate if your mind's not present.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in this world today, being quiet with your own mind is difficult because there's noise everywhere. You can't go anywhere without something making noise at you and telling you what to do, what you should be believing, what isn't, what should be important to you, and how you should feel about everything you're doing. And the importance of actually taking time to just turn everything off and sit down with a piece of paper and just clear out your brain, write down the things that are true in your brain, and get in touch with those things that matter to you, and build around that rather than the things that everybody is telling you should build around.
I mean, think about from a spiritual lens, how does faith play a role in how you realign and how you get back to the foundation of what it really means to have purpose?
Sure. My faith is huge. I am a Christian, and when I work with people, the first thing I tell them is, what is your very core beliefs? What are the very, very, very most important things to you? And that's the base of who you are. And then everything has to build on top of that. I have my Christian beliefs, and nothing that I do beyond that. I'd love to say I'm perfect enough that nothing ever goes against that, but I mess up just like we all do. But I know when situations come up, I know how I'm going to respond or how I should respond before they even happen, because I've spent that time to figure out what that base looks like. So my faith guides and directs all of the other decisions. And then the other priorities in my life, the other things that are important. My wife is the most important person. And everything that I do can't go against or can't negatively affect her. So there's kind of a ladder. And you have to give credence or attention to the things that are the most important, and not let less important things control how you interact with them.
Once again, listen to Refocused Radio, watching us online and also on radio, talking to our special guest today, John Salzwedel. Go to his website, thecoach.vip, again, thecoach.vip. I want to go even deeper in the spiritual world. There's a lot of options for people to choose to enjoy life. When you think about what truly brings value to your purpose, what truly is the glue to your why, how do you even find that? Because we always can talk a good talk, but to actually know the truth and actually experience it in such a way that keeps you on your toes is a different feeling when you find it.
Yeah, it really is. And what I have found in the finding of purpose, which there was a survey done not long ago that, if you could ask God one question and get an audible reply, what question would you ask? And I always thought it would have something to do with eternal life, what happens after you die, but it doesn't. The number one question is, what's my purpose? Why am I here? And I have found that the couple of tools that really help with that, again, come down to taking some time quietly, thinking about a few different questions. What am I good at? One of my favorite questions is, what makes me cry? And that's when I see something happen in a certain way, really, really hits me hard inside emotionally to a point where it's going to drive me to do something. So identify what that is and what the reason is behind that. And when you look at those things, what are you good at, and what really, really matters to you inside, it starts to give you clues into your purpose, into how you should move forward. And it's an ongoing thing. You keep asking yourself those questions and other questions similar to really dig into the things that are most meaningful to you. I talk about, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the TV show MASH. There's a wonderful episode on that with Klinger and Winchester at Christmas time. And it is a scene that gets to me every time. I know exactly what's going to happen, but I tear up every time that I see it. And it has to do with recognizing people and seeing people for who they are, that they are important. Everybody has something to give. They are unique, and nobody can share what they can share. Nobody else can. And to recognize that and to treat them accordingly. And that is a big center for me. And that's kind of what I came up when I was asking those questions. So, yeah, really just asking those questions to identify with the importance. And also with that, I look at my faith. What does my faith tell me I should be doing? And look through that and learn from that and see within that context, where are my skills? What gifts did God give me? And how that all fits together.
Speaking of skills and how it all fits together, there are times when people feel unsettled.
Yeah.
And that can make them think that they are failing, but you say that that's not the case. It can be just that you're finally starting to pay attention to the check engine light. The light has finally come on, and you're fortunate if you're one that can see the opportunity and seize it and say, okay, I have time on the clock, and before it expires, I can take the move right now, and I can address the issue, the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
How have you been able to break that down in your own life when that engine light cuts on and you're like, okay, I'm fortunate to actually see it cut on, and now let's do something about it.
Yeah, it was when I started feeling that misalignment, that I wasn't doing what I was called to do, what I was supposed to be doing. I was fortunate enough to be in a position where I could actually do something about that, and to find that moment and to really dig into it. The title of my book, Stop Leaving Life on the Table, comes from the business idea, we left money on the table. If you do a deal where maybe you could have gotten more money out of it, they used the phrase, we left some money on the table. Well, I looked at that and I said, aren't we doing that with our life all the time? Where we are not using our skills fully? We got more that we can do, more that we can give. And to feel the energy that you can get from being in tune with that, from using that, there's a reason you have those gifts and those skills and that energy. And to be able to grab hold of that and use that, it's an entirely different experience than cruising along and having everything seems to be going along okay, and I'll just take it as it is.
The thing that's funny about life is that the older you get, the more it will teach you what matters. Yeah.
And it is so key. And what matters to you may be different than what matters to me. There will be some commonalities there, but we have to find those things that matter to us. And those have to be important to us in our decision making if we're going to ever get in alignment with that. And it's going to be hard work. Whether, you hear, I remember the phrase, do something that you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Well, I don't believe that for a minute. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, but I'm working hard. And you can look at someone like Mother Teresa. She enjoyed what she's doing, but I think we can all agree she worked pretty hard. You still got to work hard. It's not all going to be a cakewalk and easy, but when you are working hard towards something that is important to you, you can put that effort in, you can put that work in, you can put in the long hours because it is important.
When you think about the pursuit of the greater good and the reminder of what matters, the core of your being, of your why, of what inspires you, what makes you click, what lights you up. What is that for you? And when you discover that, what are you, or what have you done to keep that the center focus?
For me, to narrow it down to one word, it would be hope. The worst feeling I had when I was going through the time of being out of alignment and feeling like I wasn't doing what I was supposed to was hopelessness. Is this all there is? What is the meaning behind it all? And I coupled that with the pain, the angst in the world, the rising suicide rates, the angry people. There's just such a huge lack of hope. And that is painful to me when you see somebody, a person, a real person, a created person that is special and unique, that is so down on themselves. I got nothing to give. I'm not worth anything. I'm terrible. That the best thing they can come up with in their mind is to commit suicide and just be gone. Can anything be more painful than that? It's that, and it is so wrong. So what am I doing to keep that in focus? I spend all my time working with people to find that clarity, to show them what I already know. They matter. They have a purpose. There's something they have to give, and they need to feel special about who they are because they are special. So that's what I do all the time, and that's how I've kept that front and center.
You remind me of what we used to do back in the day, and I think I need to bring it back. And that is, this point in the interview, I'll ask the guests, when you think about how you refocus in life, it's not just something you done once and you found out the cheat codes and say, aha, that's easy. No, it's an ongoing journey. It's a daily battle. Like you take 3 steps forward, you took 12 back. And then you take 2 steps forward, you take 20 back. And then you take 30 steps forward, you take 2 back. It's a battle that you have to keep constantly recognize. You're it, man. Like there's no one taking it for you. It's your life. This is yours. When you think about your processing of refocusing, what do you do to stay motivated to say, I can't quit. I got to keep pushing. I do believe in myself. I do believe in the greater good.
You said it extremely well. What do I do? Well, some days I'm far more successful than others. I still have days where it's like, am I actually helping anybody? I have a day where I don't sit down and meet with anybody. But when I look at what I can offer and, look backwards at some successes. I like to look back at successes, learn from failures and then leave them alone. But successes look back at frequently and say, okay, this person learned from this. Somebody else could learn from it. I can help somebody else. And sometimes it takes time to get through that. We all have bad days, bad feelings that it's just slogging through, getting up and just biting the bullet and stepping. And you just take one step and then take another step. But for me, it's the realization that what I have to share can help people to feel better about who they are and to hopefully help them to make others feel better about who they are. And it just builds on it. But even if it's just that first line of person, knowing that there's somebody there that needs to hear what I have to say.
And with that, you've been listening to Refocused Radio, watching us online and on radio, talking to our guest today, John Salzwedel. Go to his website, thecoach.vip. Again, thecoach.vip. We got about 3 minutes left on the clock. What do you look forward towards in the future? I'm not saying, the typical is 6 months from now, but just when you think about your legacy, when you think about the people that you impact, your family, what excites you about the future and why?
There's one thing that excites me about the future is as as I'm getting out there and getting to know more people, I am excited for those times in the future when I hear back, I heard this from you. I read this in something you wrote. This changed my life. This saved my life. This, just the thought of those, even if there's only ever one from today forward, that sends me a note that says, what you said changed my life, and thank you. I think that drives me more than anything on that. And hopefully the people around me can see how important that is, to build people up around you. We don't agree with everybody. We never are going to agree with everybody, but they still matter. They're still important. And hopefully people can see that and be comfortable to come and talk to me about whatever that may be. And they start to learn that that's what we're here for. We got to help each other out. We got to listen. And, it sounds like a lot of kind of ethereal stuff out there, but really that's what we're here, to help each other. And if my future is something where I can see people being helped because of directly what I did and indirectly because of what I did, that's what a successful future looks like to me.
Well, with that, I'll leave right there. Now, if I could say one thing for the podcast, it may not be time for radio, and that is, sometimes the best thing is to slow down, to see better. Because when you're moving fast, sometimes it's ego. Sometimes I'm just trying to compete with the Joneses. I'm just trying to make it. I'm just trying, I'm trying to have those highlight reels. But life will teach you. Humble is the way. And when you slow down enough, it's funny how the fall fades away. So with that, I want to say to our guest today, John Salzwedel, go to his website, thecoach.vip. Again, thecoach.vip. Like I always want to say to you, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Shemaiah. I appreciate it. It's been fun, and I wish you the best in all that you're doing, and to your audience as well.